Alright guys, this is the 389 Peterbilt that we did all the emission system work on. We put the new DOC, DPF, SCR, and I had a lot of guys getting on there telling me about how unreliable this. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And then people telling me to move out of California and all this stuff, and that's fine. And all these guys have no skin in the game at all. They're not the ones that have to, you know, if I do move somewhere, have to build my clientele up from zero to where it is now and start from scratch again. So, you know, these people that say that are just talking out of their ass is all they're doing. And another thing with these people, I've noticed that on the comment section on the emission system on this truck, all these people think it's a California thing, and they're just completely clueless that this is federal emissions regulations. If you start looking up all the people that got in trouble here lately, just Google EPA crackdown, and it'll show you that Bully Dog, all these tuner outfits, all these diesel shops that were doing deletes, they're all federal cases, EPA. It's not California. You know, so, you know, it's just unbelievable how clueless a lot of the people are about the, you know, they think that it's completely acceptable in their own state to do deletes. Well, it's not. It's a federal emission standard. Sorry to tell you that. And I don't like the emission system either, is what I'm trying to tell you. But I don't want to risk my entire livelihood and not be able to pay my bills to delete somebody's truck. It's not worth the risk. It just isn't. So anyways, that being said, got that out of the way. Got everything done. I got a new this common rail pump. I called Cummins and they said that this pump came with the ceramic plungers, and we don't know if it's been updated. I can't tell by looking at it if it has or not. So I've got new pump. I've got the new plunger kits over there, the updated ones. So we're going to pull the head on this pump is what we're going to do, and put the well, we're going to look at them. If it's got the updated ones in, I'm thinking about just putting a new gasket back on it and putting it back together. But if it doesn't, it still has the ceramic ones in there, then we're getting rid of them, and we're going to put the updated pump and plunger and barrels in it. So I got to get this cleaned up, keep any kind of debris from falling down in there. And then we'll end up pulling, well, we can unplug the fuel control actuator. I got a new actuator too. I thought it's a good idea. It's never been changed. You can tell. But, you know, 800,000, almost 900,000 miles on it. Which makes me kind of think that the pump hasn't been updated either. So, let me see, I gotta get this line here off. Which is gonna be the supply to it, coming from the filter head, I believe. This is the return line. I'm trying to follow that out, trace that out. There's two lines on the bottom. I see the gear pump. See the lift pump only runs when you turn the key on, but usually the gear pump's down here that supplies fuel to the common rail pump. I see the gear pump's is leaking oil. So anyway, let's see if we can get this thing going for these guys. We're gonna go test drive it too after we get done, see what it does. All right. Every one of these GoPro cameras I've had, every one of them and they do it quite often. You know, I'm not buying any more of these damn GoPros. This one just did it, you know. You turn it off when you stop recording, and then you're supposed to be able to just hit the record button. It's supposed to, you know, just turn the camera back on and record again. Well, it won't even turn on. Then you can try to push the power button and turn on, it still won't turn on. They're kind of a piece of junk, to be honest with you. So then you got to pull the battery out of it, pull the battery out, put it back in and reset the pile of junk, or it'll start turn back on. Oh. comes Oscar. Oscar's gonna check it out. Hey, bud. Alright, so I gotta get this return line. It's gonna be 17 millimeter. The other banjo. Sealing washer must have fell down when I pulled it loose. I don't see it now. I got new ones, and you want to change those anyway. And the problem with not changing them is that it's not really a banjo. They call it a sealing washer. It's a dowdy washer, and see that rubber will get in the system. It'll go through the holes there when you bolt it back down. See how it's all peeling off of there? It'll cause you some problems if you don't change them. Man, that's a different size. That one's, I believe, 19, huh? Got a calf over there that's being weaned right now, and he keeps calling for his mama. I know some guys that are in their 40s, adult males that still haven't been weaned, and they call for their mamas all the time. What's that fuel look like? Is it? Socket and get the head bolts loose. I want to spray. Make sure I get her clean. Be lucky this truck hasn't been out on the farm too much, because it would be full of dirt. My part, I feel really bad. I want to look at this thing, and I just, the next one I ever do, and I will demand that they let me hook up Cummins inside to it and go drive the shit out of it, and before I do anything else. I learned a valuable lesson here, and I'm really sorry that this thing has turned out this way. I mean, the emission system, I mean, that's they're on the hook for that. It doesn't really matter. You can't legally sell a truck in the state of California, and especially and claim that it's emissions compliant. This, you know, I feel bad, really bad about this. I wish I would have drove this thing. I don't know if I would have. You know, what's funny is he drove it all the way, bobtailed it all the way. Thinking about it, he bobtailed it all the way up here from Sacramento, and this didn't happen. It only happened when he put a trailer behind it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have showed up. You know, maybe it wouldn't have showed up on me if I would have test drove it. I don't know. I feel bad about the whole thing. But it's kind of the risk you take when you buy a truck with 800,000 miles on it. I mean, you never know. You just never know what you're getting into. But all we can do from now is just get it fixed, and move on. We'll make a good truck out of it. I mean, this repair here, I mean, isn't going to be cheap just on the price of the pump, but you couple that with the emissions thing, and it's a pretty piss poor buy on this one. And you know the sneaky, lying, thieving bastards, they knew about every bit of it. You know they did. And you look up their outfit on the internet and they got all these good reviews. I think they're going to get a bad one here pretty soon. Every time I deal with somebody down there, I get in that part of the country, I get screwed every time. We call that the land of being screwed up here. Was that Sacramento area? And that's just the kind of people they are. There's just no integrity to them at all. You know, they don't give a shit about screwing a guy over because they know there's 10 more guys that'll walk through the door looking to buy something. If they screw one guy over, who gives a shit and he finds out, you know? So that's just their mentality. Money. Money, money, money. There's a lot about where the country is too these days, you know, with people. It does. Me, myself, I live in a small community and I don't want to sell somebody something like this and then have my name be bad. To them it doesn't matter because there's so many people, you know. You know, it shouldn't even mean that. It should just be right and wrong, you know. And there's no right and wrong with people anymore either. Grease off of here. I gotta get underneath and get the fuel lines off the gear pump. We found our 559 code though. I see the barrel. When I get the pump out, I'll show you the barrel's all scored up in it. And this would be why the owner took the truck in. He probably had somebody diagnose it, and they told him it needed a pump, and he went and took it and put it in an auction because he didn't want to put any money into it. But thank God we caught this cam flake, and it could have sent metal through everything and really destroyed stuff, you know, so thank God we caught it. Okay, got to get the gear pump lines loose. Oh yeah, good times, good times. Got the zip tie and get these bolts loose here to hold the bull-by. That was another thing I had to fix on here, was the bull-by sensor wire. Okay. been quite a deal here this last week, man. I worked my tail off. That darn JCB backhoe. Golly, the problems I had getting that thing back together. You know, I had the front axle out from under it too, and rebushed it and put a new pin in it. The pin was worn real bad, and the transmission, getting it back together. The transmission was easy, but the damn, I went and mounted it, and I couldn't get the torque converter to turn, and I thought, well, shit, did I not get it in all the way? Well, long story short, the little pilot, there's the pilot for the converter, and then there's a recess in the flywheel for the pilot to go into in the center. Part of that pilot from the old converter had broke off, and I didn't see it, and it was stuck in there, and it was so rusted up it just looked like the rest of the flywheel. Well, I ended up having to, I got the transmission all bolted in there, and I had to pull it all back out, and then I had to drill a hole, because I got to thinking about it, and I thought, you know, that damn flywheel might not be, that hole might not go all the way through. It might be blanked on the other side, because I was going to pull the flywheel out of it and then knock that piece out from the back side. And I got to thinking, you know, some of them flywheels don't have a hole clear through to them. They just drill that recess where the pilot sits, and then it's blanked off on the other side. So I might be pulling the flywheel for no reason. So I drilled a hole in it and put a dent puller in it and slide hammered it out of there, and then I had to remount the transmission. And then I got it all back together and test drove it in that stupid valve body. I didn't mess with that valve body because the Allen's heads are recessed into that valve body, and the tops were all rotted out. And I tried to get two of them out, and the heads just flaked on them on those Allens. They were so corroded, and I knew it was just going to be a pain, so I left it alone because there was nothing wrong with it that I could see at the time. You know, granted, the backhoe came into me with no oil in it, so now I know why it ran out of oil. It's because after I got it all back together, I seen a trail of oil behind me when I backed up, and that valve, the gasket, was blown out where the base plate of the coil mounts up to the... Anyways, I got the gasket. It's supposed to be here Monday, and then I can finally maybe put that thing behind me. But it's been a chore. Get a cordless ratchet and zip that out of there. This thing's about dead. I need another battery. Battery. Let's see what lies in store for us here. All that line stuck in the end of it here. Well, shoot. Oh, darn it. The line's kind of hung up there. I might have to pull that. Give her a little love tap here on the line. Oh. Okay. look at those barrels real close. Wait a second here. Oh shit, this pump's junk. The pump is junk. Look at that. See the cam? See the cam down in here in the pump? How it's all rough. The pump's junk. Okay, there's our problem. That is probably why we're getting the 559 code, is the pump is junk in it. Darn it. Yeah, look at this down in here. I'll show you a little bit better picture of that. See the cam roller here. That's the cam roller. It needs a pump. Golly, man, these guys are gonna have to spend another $3,000. Darn, this truck's kind of a nightmare. I really regret ever even going and looking at it, to be honest with you. Yeah, and the cam's all flaking on it, coming apart. So it's junk. No sense in going any further. The pump needs to come out of it. I'll take these parts back. He said he'd take them back, but I don't know how. I mean, this thing would never do that 559 code unless you're really pushed on it hard, you know, and then it would do that 559. That can't be good for it. So she's scrap iron that pump is. I'll take all this stuff back and give it back to him and see if I can get a pump coming for it. We'll have to change the pump out in it. It's junk. So I guess we can go ahead and pull the pump out of it. That'll be the next step. Go ahead and get it out of there. It's garbage. See, there's another brace I didn't show you that I pulled off on the gear pump. Let me see if I can. So we got to pull this bolt right here, and I think, does that one hold it too? No, that's going to the air compressor. So it's this one here, and then this one down here. Yeah. I'll have to set the camera here because I don't really got any other place to put it right now. Actually, let me get this one first. I'm gonna shit myself. Holy shit. Yeah, well, that's looking pretty good. here's coming out nice and easy, but that other one, or nothing. Yeah. I wonder if I can get underneath, pull on it maybe. I don't know. Hit those hoses right there, that's not good. Kind of see it there. Alright, looking through. I'm gonna get me swing on it. Not hitting everything else. I don't know. Dang it, I can't get it loose. It's rounding it off. Plane don't sound too good. I can't even see that the head of that bolt. I can't even see it. I am definitely having problems here. Get a different socket. Alright, I finally got her broke loose without rounding it off. Oh, she was tight. I think I'm gonna have to come out the bottom, I think. As I wear all the oil that comes out of it. And this pump is garbage. Alright, well, I gotta plug that hole up. This magnetic face on this camera is pretty stout. Well, we just gotta... Tell you what, the next time I go to look at one, if they don't let me hook a laptop to it and don't let me go drive the hell out of it, I'll just tell them, well, find somebody else to buy it because we ain't interested. Well, he'll have a good truck here, but it's going to cost. I mean, it's just Jesus, you know. Alright. India. The barrel is all scored up on this pump. What happens is the metal from the cam lobe flaking gets up in there and gets in there and scores everything up. I don't know if you guys can see that or not with the light situation in there, but you stick your finger in here and it's rough and it's a junk pump, pretty much garbage. I have to pull this brace off the bottom here because that won't come with the new pump. So Alright. Alright guys, well, another problem with this Peterbilt. Yeah, after thousands and thousands of dollars, it'll be a good truck again.